is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome to the very first Halls of Injustice of 2024. Today we welcome inmate numbers 189.1 and 189.2, I think. Is it 189? I think it is. We've been doing this a while. I'll insert a trigger warning before we start, as this one involves a rather heinous crime. Most of them do. If crime is not your kind of content, that's quite alright. Just be sure to smash the like on the way out. Inmates numbers 189.1 and 189.2 are called Saman Abbas and Nazia Shaheen. The crime is considered an honour unaliving. Yes? Okay. There is a growing problem in Europe where certain cultural practices from other places on this planet are trying to be pushed and it's not working. It is leading to a revolt, which in turn is leading to revolting actions from those who are not getting their way. And I don't mean those who deserve to have freedom and equality. I mean those who think that their cultural practices should be enforced in other countries where it is not the norm, nor is it acceptable. Notice how I'm playing politics a little bit here with how I'm talking. This is going to be a growing and recurring problem. But mercifully, in 2024, I'm quite happy to say that if you are somebody that partook or partakes in the arranged marriage idea, concept, yes, you're a crap human being. Simple as that. I do not accept nor will I tolerate such actions or behaviours. I do believe one should be free to choose their partner, especially when we have seen, and there are many documentaries talking about it, but they don't get much in the way of traffic even when it is shown on places like the BBC, that discuss the problem with arranged marriages when it involves, for example, a large number of first cousins. That in and of itself can become a rather lengthy discussion about genealogy and the erosion of genetics that create rather unfortunate offspring. And I say unfortunate offspring because the inbreeding problem or incestuous problem invariably causes future generations to suffer, unnecessarily so. Arranged marriages have other problems as well, and of course we could certainly rant about that as well. In the United Kingdom, one particular faith had to go through a reformation. Society eventually had to go through a reformation as well. Society had to give people that were not given rights their rights. You can now say, oh, just the women then. You would be incorrect. Do not attempt to try me with historical revisionism. But women getting the vote and over time the equality they were due is important, because faith for a long time controlled a narrative, and for that, women were often considered other. Someone might now want to say, oh, you don't understand because you don't do faith. You're right. As an outsider, I have a remarkably simplistic interpretation, but that's why I mentioned Reformation, in my country anyway, and that's vitally important. But for today, we're going to go to Italy, because this is where the crimes are committed against Saman Abbas, an 18-year-old who is living near Bologna. Yes, I know how to pronounce that correctly. Unlike in previous Halls of Injustices, we structure the video a certain way. We cannot do it this way because the context of what happened in 2021 is complicated, and also the information concerning Saman Abbas and Nazia Shaheen. There are others involved as well, and we will mention who they are and provide suitable context as to connection in the story itself. At some time in April 2021, Saman Abbas had been thrown out by her parents. She had disappeared in Novellera, Italy, because her family had demanded she accept an arranged marriage. She had declined this. Saman then spent several nights sleeping in the streets with nowhere to go before she was taken in by social services at the end of April. They had advised her to avoid going home, but on April the 11th she went back. On the night of the 30th, Saman had gotten into the violent argument with her parents over that marriage and then ran away again. This is where things go horribly wrong for Saman, because she was followed by her uncle Danish Hasnain, who was instructed by her family to bring her back, but instead decided, no, I am not going to bring her back alive. Her disappearance did not come to light until May the 5th, when authorities were sent to the family's home to recover documents that Saman's family had been refusing to hand over since social services took her in. Authorities arrived at the house only to find that the victim's parents had left Italy and returned to Pakistan, while Saman was still missing. Her father had told Italian authorities from Pakistan that the girl is in Belgium. However, these claims were refuted by a prosecutor who said that they are sure she did not go to Belgium and is almost certainly not alive. Her parents had fled to Italy. One of her cousins had gone to France. the cousin with the same first name and last name, Namanul Haq, and her uncle, Danish Hasnain, were at this time all missing, meaning this investigation got really messy, really quickly, because the uncle had done something truly heinous. He had strangled Saman. It wasn't until November 2022 that human remains were found near the family home in the town of Novellara. The remains were identified by dental records and they matched that of Saman Abbas. Forensics confirmed a fracture to a bone at the front of the neck would support the theory that she was strangled. CCTV footage on the night that she had passed away confirmed that her uncle and two of her cousins had buried her, because the uncle is the one carrying the shovel. He is the one that committed the act. The family were okay with this. One of the reasons that Saman had rejected the arranged marriage was because she, like her brother, wanted to live free in Italy, and she had a boyfriend, photos of which, including her boyfriend kissing, were seen by her family. They did not take this kindly because while she wanted to love and live free, as her brother had stated, her parents could not accept this. Not long after her parents, her cousins, her uncle had fled the country, European arrest warrants were handed out, and Hasnain, her uncle, was detained under that very arrest warrant in France in September 2021. He was hiding in Paris. Of course, he did a fantastic job of hiding in plain sight. At this point, one of her cousins had already been arrested and was in jail in Italy. The Italian Union of Islamic Communities had expressed shock at this case and issued a fatwa, which is a religious ruling which rejected forced marriages. The cousin that had already been detained was Ijaz Ikram, who while in prison confirmed the belief held by her brother, by Saman's brother, that her uncle had committed the crime, because he in prison had essentially confirmed it verbally. Namanul Haq was still missing, so was her mother and father. However, Saman Abbas was eventually arrested in Pakistan and extradited to Italy to face trial. Her mother was not found. Is still believed in fact to be in Pakistan and was tried in absentia, which means tried without you being present, but the moment you're found, you're getting extradited and sent to where you need to go to serve the time you need to serve. Since a mother and father have, or are accused at this point, of betraying their daughter under the guise of, yes, but this older man that we want you to marry, a cousin that's much older than you that you can be subservient to, is perfect for you, shows just how ingrained this problem is. They came to Italy for a different life, and yet they were incapable of properly integrating. Arranged marriages were quite common in Europe as well, sure, and many royals are inbred, we all know this. Thank you for being the pedantic prick that had to tell me that. It does not change that this instance with this is completely unacceptable. During the trial, Saman Abbas told the court that he was innocent, insisting that he and his wife had only followed their daughter on the night she disappeared because they were unhappy it was so late and they wanted to see where she was going. Let's ignore the fact that when they saw a picture of her kissing her boyfriend, they raged at her, and for several months she lived under the care of social services, with them sending her a flurry of text messages to convince her to go home. There's a word for that. It starts with gr and ends with Quote from her father: "This trial is not complete. I too want to know who killed my daughter." The two cousins were found not guilty and have since been released from jail. Her uncle, Danish Hasnain, no, he's not free of any guilt here, but he was given a 14-year prison term, which on the face of it seems like a very short sentence, considering it has been all but confirmed he was the one that committed the crime. And this will make more sense in a moment, because even though the mother was not there, the father was, they were both found guilty, which does in fact mean we can go to a sentence. What's quite peculiar about this is that it is considered quite high profile, yet all the articles I found on it, even after translating, gave very little in the way of information about the trial itself. A frustrating aspect of the reporting. Saman Abbas and Nazia Shaheen, father and mother to Saman Abbas, were both found guilty for unaliving their daughter and were sentenced to life, a sentence truly deserving for two people who do not care enough about their daughter, or did not care enough to allow her the freedom, basic freedom, to choose who her partner would be. She had integrated after emigrating as a young lady, and properly integrated, but still found someone who she could be with. They decided because they thought she had brought dishonor to the family, an arcane practice, that they would force upon her a marriage so that she could be the very best version of herself that they believed she could be, not realizing that freedom is very important. The very best version of you have to find. And when a child becomes an adult, you sure as heck don't get a decision on that one. Nor should you, by the way. I know someone's going to be offended by what I've said. You can sod off, quite frankly. I truly believe in freedom for all people or no people. Simple as that. Because I believe in equality. What the parents have done is betrayed their child. The sentence is an absolute no parole life. The uncle should also join that though. But he entered a plea bargain and got a lesser sentence because of it. Quite frankly, the sentence of her mother and father is correct. 100%. They should spend the remainder of their life in prison without any of those freedoms they came to Europe for in the first place. I do hope that Shaheen is found. If she is, of course, we will cover that. For now, though, while protesting his innocence and trying to get people on his side, her father can rot in a jail, as can her uncle.